Welcome on board, chosen one. Try not to look too shocked. I know the last thing you expected today was to be greeted like the main character after the entire world acted like you were an extra. But here you are, walking in with that quiet weight you carry and instantly triggering alarms in places you didn't even know existed. The funny part is, the enemy thought they finally buried you. They thought you were done. They thought your silence meant defeat. Cute. Meanwhile, the universe just promoted you behind their backs. And now, the people who once laughed are suddenly squinting like, wait, since when did you glow like that? And look at them now. Look who suddenly can't sit still. Look who's pretending they're not watching you out of the corner of their eye. Look who's whispering your name like it might burn their tongue. These same geniuses once said you were nothing special, too sensitive, too slow, too weird, or whatever watered-down insult made them feel big for 10 minutes. Now, the legend needs to bow. And that shift you feel in the air, that pressure on your skin, that strange chill when you enter a room, yeah, that's them panicking. That's them realizing the person they underestimated is the one the universe has been quietly upgrading the whole time. Before we go deeper, hit the like button and subscribe, not as a favor to me, but as a way of clapping back at everything that tried to dim you, call it payback through support. A little "I'm still here" to anyone who preyed on your downfall. Now we continue. There's this thick silence around you lately. You've felt it, the kind that drops after a storm when the sky is staring at the ground like, damn. Did anyone else hear that? Your silence has been louder than your words, and it's been unsettling the right people. There's been a change in how rooms receive you. You walk in, and the energy shifts like someone important just entered, even if no one says a word. You're catching reactions that don't match the surface. The quick glances, the awkward pauses, the slight stiffness, the forced smiles. They're all tells humans aren't as sneaky as they think. And then there's that one person. That person with real power. The kind of person who normally doesn't look twice at anybody. The kind who moves through life untouched, unbothered, unshaken, until you walked past them like it was nothing, until you existed in a way that made something in them click. Hard, like a system glitch, like a foreign signal entered their frequencies, and now they can't unsee you. They can't undo that moment. You became the exception to their rules. People with real power don't react loudly. They never say, whoa. They just tilt their head, narrow their eyes, and mentally add your name to a list they don't show anyone. And that's exactly what happened. They saw two things in you. Two dangerous truths. Two silent weapons you didn't even know you were carrying. And ever since, they've been watching you with that "what did I just stumble on" expression. You think it's your imagination. You think you're overthinking. No. This time, your senses are spot on. You've been upgraded from background noise to a blinking red alert, from hidden potential to undeniable presence, from forgettable to don't take your eyes off this one. And honestly, if we're being real, this didn't come out of nowhere. Think about the last few years. Think about everything that tried to destroy you. Remember the nights you cried into your pillow because you didn't want anyone to hear. Remember how someone looked you in the face and said you'd never be enough, and you believed them for a moment. Remember the times you kept showing up, even though you were exhausted. That's what built you. That's what sharpened you. That's what turned you into someone whose energy now hits like a spotlight. There's a story buried in your past that explains everything. The first time someone betrayed you and you didn't break. The first time you walked away from someone who thought you couldn't live without them. The first time you chose your own peace over someone else's approval. You didn't see it, but every time you survived something that should have broken you, the universe took notes. You were being crafted in silence, molded without witnesses. Your pain was the training arc no one else had the patience to endure. And now, finally, the world is catching up. This powerful person who's watching you. They saw two specific things, your resilience and your evolution. The kind that can't be faked, the kind that makes even the strong feel uneasy. They saw that you've been burning quietly, and the flame is no longer small enough to ignore. The enemy feels it too. That's why they're acting jittery. That's why they're suddenly bringing up your name like it's a warning. They don't know what you're becoming, but they can feel it. They feel the shift. They feel the story changing. They feel the pressure of your presence returning like a wave. You're not imagining any of this. You're standing in the aftermath of every storm you survived. You're the one who walked out when everyone else quit. You're the one who kept going when your heart felt like it was cracking. You're the one who turned pain into armor and silence into strategy. Someone with serious power finally saw you. And now they can't look away. And trust me, this is only the beginning. Before we go any further, Chosen One, lock in with me for a second. You just triggered the attention of someone powerful, and trust me, they're not the only ones watching now. If you're still here, it means you can feel that pull in your chest, that strange gravity dragging you deeper into this truth. So prove you're not like the ones who scroll away when the story finally turns in their favor. Drop a comment with 777 if you're ready to step into this new version of yourself, the one that makes powerful people sit up and whisper your name like it's classified information. This isn't just engagement. It's you signaling to the universe that you're done being invisible. And now, Chosen One, let's move into this step by step. The ones who aren't meant for this message will fall off right here. But you, if you're really the anomaly who made someone with serious power stop and stare, you'll feel the urge to stay until the very end. That's how you'll know this message was meant for you. Let's get into the next part. Number 1. The upgrade that ruined their sleep. Funny how they called you insignificant until your existence started glitching their entire system. Regular people still look at you through the old lens. They treat you like nothing changed, like you're the same soft target they used to gossip about, dismiss, or overlook. They interact with you using outdated data, outdated assumptions, outdated versions of you that no longer exist. They're stuck in last season while you're already living in the future. But the ones with real power, the ones who shape outcomes, influence decisions, and pull strings from rooms no ordinary person is allowed to enter. They're not fooled for a second. They see the shift. They see the upgrade. They see the anomaly. And now they're unsettled because nothing bothers powerful people more than a wild card they didn't predict. What's driving them insane is that you don't fit into any of their categories anymore. You're not readable, you're not classifiable, you're not predictable. Their algorithms can't label you, their psychology can't decode you, their instincts can't pin you down, and nothing terrifies a system more than something it can't control. You became the glitch in their program, the break in their pattern, the unexpected variable that ruins the whole experiment. They keep replaying old footage of you, comparing past and present, trying to figure out when the shift happened. But they can't pinpoint the moment because your evolution wasn't loud. It was silent. It was internal. It was forged in pain they never saw and growth they never imagined you capable of. Understand this: powerful people hate surprises. They build empires by anticipating every threat before it forms. But you didn't rise the way they expected. You didn't follow the script. You didn't walk the predictable path. You survived storms that should have destroyed you. You healed from wounds that should have crippled you. You got back up after betrayals that should have broken you. You fought battles with no witnesses, no applause, no support. And in that silence, you transformed into someone they can't diagnose or downgrade. That's why they're studying you. That's why they're whispering your name behind closed doors. That's why you're glowing on their screens like a new signal. Strong, unfamiliar, dangerous. What they noticed, the two things that froze them. First, your resilience, the kind that feels unfair, the kind that makes them question what powers your spirit you've taken, hits that would have erased ordinary people. They don't understand how you're still standing, let alone rising. You should have folded, you should have collapsed, you should have lost your spark. But instead, you came back sharper, colder, more focused, more aware. Your bounce-back speed is unnatural to them. They can't calculate it. They can't replicate it. They can't stop it. That alone scares them. Second, your clarity. That sudden shift in your eyes. The way you no longer entertain nonsense. The way you no longer give energy to people who drain you. The way you walk into situations with a calmness that feels almost supernatural. They can tell you're not confused anymore. You're not wandering. You're not searching for approval or begging for validation. You're aligned. You're intentional. You're in control of your narrative for the first time in your life. And that terrifies people who built their confidence on the assumption that you would stay lost. Ask yourself this: why do you think certain people act weird around you now? Why do they stumble over their words? Why do they look at you longer than they should? Why do they stare like they just saw a ghost of their past mistakes? Because your energy exposes them. Your growth reflects their stagnation. Your evolution highlights their insecurities. And your presence reminds them of everything they tried to bury, including you. They're reacting to a version of you they didn't prepare for, and they hate that. They hate that the person they once underestimated is now someone they must monitor. They hate that the easy target they enjoyed pushing around has become someone they can't touch without consequences. They hate that they can no longer predict your next move because unpredictability is power, and you have it now. You know what else bothers them? They can't figure out what triggered this upgrade. They're digging through your past, trying to find the switch you flipped. They're analyzing your timeline like investigators searching for evidence of when your strength became undeniable. Was it the betrayal that forced you to grow up? Was it the heartbreak that turned you inward? Was it the setback that pushed you to rebuild? They don't know. They can't track it. And that lack of explanation makes them uneasy. There's something poetic about it, right? The same people who laughed at your struggles now whisper about your strength. The ones who doubted your potential now scramble to understand it. The ones who tried to break you now watch you with caution, wondering if you're coming for justice. You're not the same, and their fear is the confirmation. Your upgrade wasn't for show, it wasn't for validation, it wasn't for applause. It was survival, it was transformation, it was the universe whispering, "Rise." So you did, silently, steadily, powerfully. And now the world has no choice but to respond. So when you feel eyes on you, don't shrink. Don't question your worth. Don't assume it's paranoia. Someone with serious power noticed what you've become. They saw the evolution you tried to downplay. They recognized the intensity you thought was hidden. They felt the threat you weren't even trying to project. You're no longer invisible. You're no longer small. You're no longer the version of you that begged for space in rooms that were never built for you. You're the upgrade they can't explain, the shift they didn't predict, the presence they can't ignore, and deep down, they know the truth. You're just getting started. Number 2, the first thing they saw, your hidden capacity. Funny how they mocked your potential until they realized you weren't growing, you were loading. So let's rip the mask off the first thing they noticed about you, not the polished parts you show the world, not the version you pretend to be to avoid drawing attention. No, they saw the part you've been hiding from everyone, including yourself. They saw your capacity, the real you, the full range of who you could become if you ever stopped choking your own power just to make mediocre people comfortable. You thought you were being subtle. You thought your progress was invisible. You thought your silence meant no one could detect the fire you were building behind your ribs. But people with real power don't look at who you are. They look at who you're becoming. And when they scanned you, they didn't see a work in progress. They saw a loaded weapon with the safety off. Here's the truth that hits them hardest. Most people are capped at a painfully low level. Imagine a phone stuck at 20% battery for its entire life. That's the average human. They plateau early, settle early, rot early. They pick their comfort zone, build a nest in it, and call it destiny. They stop evolving at the first sign of difficulty. They stop growing the moment life stops clapping for them. But you never plateaued. You kept expanding even when nobody was watching. You kept improving even when no one was cheering. You kept growing through seasons that tried to suffocate you. This is why powerful people finally noticed you. Your progression chart didn't flatline like everyone else's. It shot upward like something they couldn't predict, couldn't track, couldn't control. And that right there is what shook them. Capacity terrifies people who can't imagine themselves improving. Powerful people didn't see your present self. They saw your future self. And trust me, that's way more dangerous. They saw the giant hiding inside the quiet person. They saw the predator inside the one who used to walk with their head down. They saw your ceiling, and it's so much higher than the character you're currently playing. Imagine this. You walk into a room and everyone sees your current version, the one still healing, still building, still figuring things out. But someone with real influence sees a different silhouette behind you, a bigger one, a stronger one, a version of you that could outthink them, outrun them, outgrow them, or outperform them in ways they can't prevent. That's the version they're staring at, not the one you see in the mirror. Let me answer what you might be wondering silently. Why would they care about me? Why would someone with power be bothered by someone like me? Because capacity exposes destiny, and destiny exposes threat. They saw that gap, that enormous, terrifying gap between who you are and who you could become. And most people don't have that gap. They are already at their peak. They max out early. You didn't. You're still climbing. Still rising, still unlocking levels you don't even realize you've reached. Imagine someone watching a seed crack through the soil and instantly knowing it's going to grow into a tree that towers over every structure in the area. That's what happened when they saw you. They detected the blueprint of something massive long before the world sees it. People aren't scared of your present. They're terrified of your potential. Let's go deeper into why this rattled them. See, powerful people run projections. They study arcs, patterns, timelines. They look at your habits, your resilience, your silence, your focus. They calculate your trajectory the way analysts predict storms. They don't care about how you look today. They care about your slope, your direction, your acceleration, and your trajectory. It's steep, it's volatile, it's rising too fast for their comfort. They ran the numbers. 6 months from now, threat level rising. 1 year from now, disruption potential high. 5 years from now, unstoppable. Every scenario, every simulation, every model gave them the same outcome. You are becoming someone they cannot afford to ignore. Imagine this. Someone tracking your progress like you're a stock they underestimated, watching the line jump, jump, jump until it breaks past every prediction. That's you. The unexpected spike. The surge that ruins their forecasts. And here's another answer to what might be crawling through your thoughts. But why now? Why suddenly? Why did they notice me at this point? Because your capacity finally became visible. You've been growing underground like a root system, quiet, hidden, unseen. But at some point, roots break through concrete. That's the moment you're in. You're cracking surfaces, you're piercing layers, you're rising into visibility whether you want it or not. Your silence wasn't weakness, it was incubation. Your isolation wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Your setbacks weren't ending points, they were recalibration points. Your capacity didn't come from comfort, it was carved from suffering. That's why your capacity is frightening. It wasn't built in classrooms. It wasn't shaped by praise. It wasn't formed in safe zones. It was engineered in situations that would have broken most people. It was shaped by betrayal, heartbreak, humiliation, silence, loneliness, pressure, and pain. Imagine a blacksmith forging a weapon in secrecy, hammering it through fire again and again while everyone else sleeps. That's you. The world didn't see the shaping, but they're about to see the results. And powerful people can sense this kind of emergence. They can feel when someone's energy shifts from surviving to ascending. They felt that shift in you. They detected the surge. They watched your growth spurt in real time without knowing what triggered it. And now they're obsessed. You became a variable they can't calculate, an arc they can't predict, an equation that refuses to solve. Most people would kill for the kind of attention you're receiving, but here's the twist. This type of attention doesn't come from admiration. It comes from assessment. They're trying to decide whether you're going to become a weapon or a threat, an ally or a problem, a partner or a competitor. But one thing is certain, you can't be ignored anymore. Imagine this, a team of experts staring at your profile like it's a puzzle, missing half its pieces, yet somehow still more dangerous than the ones fully understood. That's how they see you. Incomplete but impressive, uncertain but undeniable. And here's the final truth they'll never admit out loud. They didn't just see your capacity, they saw their limits reflected in your potential. Your growth reminds them of everything they stopped pursuing. Your fire reminds them of everything they lost. Your resilience reminds them of the version of themselves they abandoned. People don't fear what they understand. They fear what exposes them. You're doing that without trying. So don't shrink, don't question the attention, don't doubt your potential. You weren't noticed by accident. You were noticed because you crossed into a tier of capacity most people never reach, a tier that powerful people monitor carefully. You're not an underdog anymore. You're an emerging force, a rising anomaly, a future giant, and this was only the first thing they saw. The second one, that's where things get even more interesting. Number 3, tagged as a threat in the making. Funny how they ignored you for years, then panicked the moment they realized you weren't dying, you were mutating. You've been evolving in silence, chosen one, upgrading without permission, growing in the shadows where no applause exists, no validation is offered, and no handholds are provided. You thought nobody saw it. You thought you were invisible. You thought your quiet transformation was happening off-grid, not even close. Real power doesn't wait for you to introduce yourself. It doesn't need your permission, your announcement, or your spotlight. It uses systems you can't see, patterns you didn't know existed, and instincts sharpened by years of watching dangerous people rise from nothing. You didn't slip under the radar. You triggered it. Imagine a system built to detect anomalies, suddenly lighting up the moment you walked past. Imagine analysts staring at your energy signature like it wasn't supposed to look like that. That's what happened. They saw your capacity stretching, expanding, unfurling like something that shouldn't exist in an ordinary human timeline, and immediately, without hesitation, they flagged you, marked you, stamped your internal file. Evolving. Monitor closely. They switched lenses on you. They activated protocols. You're no longer seen through the filter of random person just trying to survive life. You're seen through the filter reserved for emerging forces, rising variables, and unpredictable trajectories. Everything you do now gets studied. Your choices, your silence, your pace, your resilience, your reactions, your withdrawals, your comebacks. They're trying to understand you the way scientists study a new species. Evolution scares people who stayed the same too long. But here's the part most people miss. Capacity alone wouldn't have kept their eyes on you. Lots of people have potential, lots of people have sparks, lots of people have dreams, but potential without direction evaporates. It fades. It collapses under pressure. It becomes nothing more than a forgotten wish. What froze them wasn't just your capacity. It was your direction, your awareness, your refusal to waste your own potential. They saw that you weren't expanding randomly. You were evolving with intention. Your growth wasn't a glitch, it was a pattern. And maybe you're wondering, why me? Why am I being watched now? Because you're no longer drifting, you're steering, you're choosing, you're aiming. And that combination, raw capacity plus conscious direction, is what creates a threat, a leader, or an unstoppable force. You've been flagged for evolution because you're not who you were last year, last month, or even last week. And deep down, they know you're only getting started. Number 4. The moment your eyes started scaring them. They weren't afraid when you were lost. They got afraid when you started seeing. What shifted everything, what made them go from casually observing you to treating you like a high-priority anomaly, was the second thing they caught in you: awareness. Not the cute kind people brag about online, not the pop psychology buzzwords everyone throws around. No, what they saw in you was the dangerous version, the real version, the kind of awareness that turns a regular human into a variable the system can't control. They realized, you know, and once a person knows, they can never be handled the same way again. You know the game is rigged, and you're done pretending you don't see the strings. You know the system is just smoke, mirrors, and fragile egos holding on to borrowed power. You know most authority is performance, not competence. You know narratives are engineered, not discovered. You know silence is a weapon, not a weakness, and worst of all for them, you know you are being watched. That's the moment you went from potential to problem. Imagine this. For years, they watched you stumble, doubt yourself, question everything, swallow lies, and play roles that didn't fit you. You were predictable then, manageable, contained. But something snapped, something clicked, Something in you finally woke up, and the moment your mind sharpened, your energy shifted, your patterns changed, your steps became intentional, your silence became strategic. You started walking like someone who finally understands the hidden rules, the rules they never wanted you to learn. Awareness turns a pawn into a player. They saw your eyes change, literally. They saw that spark of, "I get it now." They saw the way you stopped reacting emotionally to bait, the way you stopped falling for manipulation, the way you started reading between lines. They noticed how you no longer attach yourself to people out of loneliness, how you no longer chase validation, how you no longer fear walking away from things designed to distract you. And maybe you're asking yourself, but how did they know I figured it out? Because awareness changes your entire energy signature. It sharpens your movements, it disrupts your patterns, it shifts your decisions, it makes you harder to predict, harder to lure, harder to use, and powerful people feel that instantly. Once you see the truth, you can't unsee it, and they can't unsee you seeing it. You're not blind anymore, you're not following scripts, you're not absorbing lies like everyone else. You woke up fully, and they witnessed it in real time. That's why they can't look away. Because an aware soul is a dangerous soul, and now they know you're both. Number 5. Why you terrify them without even trying. They can silence the loud ones, but the quiet ones, those are the ones who rewrite the whole map. Here's the part that really gets under their skin. You're not just strong, you're not just capable, you're not just evolving, you're aware. And that combination is lethal in a world built on people staying asleep. See, someone with capacity but no awareness is harmless. They're a battery waiting to be plugged into someone else's agenda. Give them a leader and they'll serve them. Give them a target and they'll fight it. Give them a belief and they'll die for it. They're predictable, they're directable, they're tools. But someone with both, someone with capacity and awareness, someone who sees the cage and still has the strength to bend the bars. That's a different species entirely. That's the type of person no system can domesticate. The type no authority can comfortably ignore. The type no manipulator can recruit. You can't puppeteer someone who already sees the strings. You're different because you don't fall for illusions anymore. You don't swallow the bait. You don't let people weaponize your empathy or hijack your loyalty. You don't waste your strength chasing approval or defending your name. You move like someone who knows the truth. Most enemies aren't loud, they're subtle. Most control isn't physical, it's psychological. Most cages don't have bars, they have distractions. And maybe you're wondering, if I'm so dangerous, why don't I feel like some unstoppable monster? Because truly dangerous people don't feel dangerous. They feel clear, they feel calm, they feel tired of nonsense, they feel uninterested in proving themselves, they feel focused. That stillness you carry, that's what terrifies them. The quieter you get, the more their alarms ring. Imagine this. 3 people sit in a room. One is ranting, one is panicking, and you're sitting in silence, just observing. Guess who the real threat is? It's the one who doesn't need to announce themselves. Loud rebels are loud because they're scared. Quiet ones are quiet because they're sure. And you move quietly, deliberately, intentionally. You don't flex your awareness, you use it. You don't argue with fools, you sidestep them. You don't expose your strategy, you execute it. That's what separates you, that's what elevates you, that's what unsettles them. You became the type of person who no longer reacts. You respond, you no longer cling, you release. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer seek guidance, you trust your own mind. And systems built on control, distraction, and noise, they crumble when someone like you enters the game, because you're not here to obey, rebel loudly, or play the hero. You're here to reshape reality without announcing your intentions. You're different because you're powerful, aware, and silent. And that combination is the nightmare of every system that tried to keep you small. Number 6. The art of going quiet right before the earthquake. Nothing scares an enemy more than the moment you stop talking, because that's when they know you finally understand everything. They've been watching the shift, that chilling, strategic silence settling over you like a storm that refuses to announce when it will break. They noticed how you stopped explaining yourself, stopped defending yourself, stopped broadcasting your thoughts to people who never earned access to them. You used to overshare out of habit. You used to open your mind to people who weren't qualified to hear you. But something changed. You started locking the doors. You started guarding the blueprints. You started moving like someone who knows the value of keeping their cards close. Imagine a chessboard where one player narrates every move while the other sits in silence, calculating 10 steps ahead. Guess who wins? Exactly. Your silence isn't confusion. It isn't fear. It isn't retreat. It's strategy. It's power. It's restraint. You're letting people believe you're still the old version of you because their underestimation is useful. It keeps them predictable. It keeps them sloppy. It keeps them blind to the weapon you're becoming. That quiet you carry now, that's the sound of someone who realizes speaking gives the game away. They see how you let others think they're smarter than you, how you nod while mentally dissecting their intentions, how you listen without revealing your calculations, how you watch patterns instead of reacting to provocations. This is not the behavior of someone who stumbled into awareness accidentally. This is the behavior of someone who woke up, learned the rules, and decided to stop announcing their every move. And that's exactly why you lit up their systems like a 5-alarm fire. People who talk loudly about their growth are easy to map, easy to predict, easy to control. But those who evolve in silence, those who withhold their thoughts while absorbing every detail, those who walk with calm faces and loaded minds, they're impossible to anticipate. Imagine this, a volcano that stopped rumbling. No smoke, no warning, no tremors, just silence. That silence doesn't comfort anyone. It terrifies them because it means something is building, something is forming, something is preparing. And that's what you've become, the quiet before the eruption. You're not hiding, you're loading, you're not shrinking, you're sharpening. You're not avoiding conflict, you're choosing it carefully. You're giving nothing away, and that nothingness is exactly what they can't handle, because they can measure noise, they can decode chaos, they can predict panic, but they can't track someone who sees everything and says nothing. You're not silent because you're unsure. You're silent because you're getting ready for something big. And the uncertainty of what comes next terrifies them more than anything you could ever say. Number 7. When the hunters start tracking you. They never feared losing control until they realized you weren't under it anymore. This is where everything flips. This is the moment the board tilts in your favor without you even lifting a finger. They used to expect you to react, explain, justify, apologize, shrink, or respond on command. But now they're the ones reacting to you. They're the ones checking your movements like nervous guards watching security footage that suddenly doesn't make sense. They're the ones analyzing your presence, your silence, your progress, your energy shifts. The power dynamic shifted quietly. cleanly and without announcement, and it's killing them inside. Imagine a world built on them pressing buttons and you responding exactly as programmed. Then one day, you stop responding, you stop dancing, you stop following the script. Imagine the panic. Imagine the confusion. Imagine a system glitching because the one person it thought it owned suddenly became unpredictable. Control only works on people who don't know they're powerful. You changed the entire atmosphere around you without saying a word. That's what happens when capacity joins forces with awareness. You stop needing to push, to argue, to fight for space. Your presence alone shifts the pressure in every room you enter. People feel you before they see you. They adjust themselves without knowing why they lower their voices. They watch their tone. They second-guess their own behavior because something about you disrupts their old patterns. And maybe you're wondering, but I'm just minding my business. Why does this bother them so much? Because you're no longer operating through the channels they designed to manage you. You're no longer predictable emotionally. You're no longer manipulatable psychologically. You're no longer reachable through guilt, fear, flattery, or pressure. You don't move when they tug the old strings because you cut those strings. Imagine this. A lion they thought was sedated suddenly stands up with clear eyes, calm breathing, and a posture that says, "I'm aware now." That's you, not roaring, not attacking, just awake. And nothing terrifies power structures more than an awake, self-directed soul. You became the variable in an equation that was built without you in mind. They now see two possibilities when they look at you, and both keep them up at night. Option 1, you evolve into an ally with game-changing influence. Option 2, you evolve into a force that could dismantle everything they built. Either way, you can't be ignored. You didn't just shift the power, you became the shift. Number 8, when powerful eyes decide you're worth their time. They only study what can change the game, and suddenly that's you. Here's the part nobody tells you. People with real power don't look at everything. They don't have time. They don't have patience. They don't have the mental bandwidth to track ordinary souls wandering in circles. Their attention is a resource, a weapon, a spotlight they don't shine unless something or someone demands it. So when they lock onto you, when they assign analysts, systems, or eyes to observe your trajectory, trust me, it wasn't an accident. It wasn't curiosity. It wasn't random interest. It was strategy. Imagine a general scanning a battlefield and suddenly stopping because one soldier in the distance isn't moving like the others. Imagine strategists tapping screens, zooming in, recalibrating sensors because an anomaly appeared where nothing unusual should exist. That's what happened the moment your growth, your awareness, your silence, your trajectory lit up their grid. You became strategically relevant. You don't monitor something unless you think it can alter the outcome. You're not noise anymore, you're data, your significance, your potential disruption. They didn't assign attention to you because they're fascinated. They did it because you matter, because the version of you emerging now could alter alliances, shift dynamics, unlock influence, or dismantle structures they rely on. You're not just a person anymore, you're a variable, and variables change equations. Maybe you're thinking, but I'm not doing anything special. Why would someone powerful even notice me? Because your evolution isn't subtle, your trajectory isn't average, your energy isn't compliant. You're not just growing, you're accelerating in ways they can't predict. You're not just aware, you're strategically aware. You're not just evolving, you're becoming someone who could tilt entire narratives simply by existing. Imagine being a storm forming at sea. No destruction yet, no explosions, just a pressure shift powerful enough to make experts point at the screen and say, "Watch that one. Keep an eye on its path." That's you, the storm before the storm. The powerful don't fear chaos, they fear the unknown. And right now, you're the unknown element in a system built on predictability. You're the factor that could either reinforce their empire or unravel it thread by thread. Until they know which role you'll play, they can't look away. They won't look away. You've become too important to overlook and too dangerous to underestimate. You didn't chase their attention. Your evolution earned it. Number 9. The growth spike that broke their measuring tools. They tried to chart your evolution, and their graphs snapped in half. Here's the truth they'll never say out loud. You didn't ask for any of this attention. You didn't chase it, beg for it, or try to bait it. You were just doing what you've always done. Healing, growing, minding your business, rebuilding pieces of yourself no one helped you with. You weren't performing. You weren't proving anything. You weren't trying to impress the world. But growth at your velocity is impossible to ignore. Once a soul starts leveling up at a rate the system can't track, alarms go off automatically. Imagine this: every time they think they finally mapped your mind, you shift. Every time they think they understand your pattern, you jump timelines. Every time they think they've predicted your next move, you switch frequencies like a signal they don't have the hardware to decode. You're not trying to be mysterious, you just evolve too fast for any blueprint to keep up with. Real evolution doesn't climb in straight lines, it leaps. And that's the part that's driving them insane. Most people grow predictably, small steps, tiny arcs, gentle improvements. But your evolution spirals, it accelerates, it pauses, then surges. It breaks old versions of you overnight. It follows rhythms only you can hear. That's why they can't quantify you, because you don't match human patterns, social patterns, emotional patterns, or psychological templates. They keep trying to reduce you to data points, personality types, childhood theories, emotional profiles, behavioral projections. And every time they think they cracked the code, you reshape yourself again. You're not outgrowing boxes, you're dissolving them. You're too fluid to measure, too complex to categorize, too fast to predict. Maybe you're wondering, why does this bother them so much? Why not let me evolve in peace? Because systems rely on predictability. Power relies on certainty. Control relies on patterns. And you broke all three. You became a moving target in a world built on static profiles. You became a shifting equation in a system that demands fixed inputs. You became living proof that complexity can't be simplified or domesticated. Imagine a scientist trying to measure a storm that keeps changing shape. 1 minute it's a breeze, the next it's a hurricane, the next it's a calm sky, then lightning striking out of nowhere. That's what your evolution feels like to them. A phenomenon they can't quantify because it refuses to stay still. You're not unpredictable on purpose. You're unpredictable because you're real. And real evolution doesn't ask permission. Real evolution doesn't stay linear. Real evolution doesn't care about their charts, predictions, or expectations. They can't stop watching you because every upgrade you make rewrites the entire landscape. You challenge their understanding, you break their formulas, you stretch beyond their limits. You've become a storm they can't measure, a frequency they can't decode, a force they can't quantify. And the craziest part? You're still only at the beginning of what you're becoming. Number 10, when your presence starts bending reality. They weren't scared when you got stronger. They got scared when everyone around you started waking up too. This is the equation that keeps them up at night. Capacity plus influence equals danger. And you, chosen one, are suddenly hitting both sides of the formula. They're not just watching you anymore. That stage is over. Now they're watching the ripple effect, the gravitational pull you accidentally built without followers, without titles, without trying to be anyone's leader. They're tracking the way conversations shift when you open your mouth. They're studying how people adjust their behavior in your presence. They're observing how decisions change when you get involved, even minimally. They're clocking the way people sit up straighter around you without knowing why. Imagine a planet forming in space, small at first, invisible to the naked eye, but then it gains mass, energy, density, until one day everything around it starts orbiting naturally. That's what your influence looks like. You weren't trying to pull anyone in. You weren't trying to guide anyone. You were just evolving, and evolution carries a magnetic field. You're not inspiring people, you're activating them. And that is the problem for them, because individual strength is manageable. They can study you, track you, contain you. But when your awareness starts sparking something in others, when your silence makes people question their illusions, when your growth becomes a mirror for someone else's stagnation, that's when things get dangerous. Movements don't start with speeches. Movements start with energy. And your energy is waking people up without you even noticing. Maybe you're thinking, I'm not trying to lead anyone. Why would they see me as a threat? Because true influence doesn't come from trying. It comes from being. People feel your evolution. They feel your clarity. They feel your shift, and it challenges them to do better, think deeper, break illusions, question patterns. You don't uplift people with motivational quotes. You uplift people simply by existing differently. Imagine this metaphor. A single candle in a dark room doesn't just glow for itself. It exposes everything. It challenges the darkness. It reveals the corners. It makes every other flame realize it could burn brighter too. That's you, the light they didn't authorize but now can't extinguish. Systems don't panic when one person rises. They panic when that rise becomes contagious. And that's exactly the point where they shift from curiosity to strategy. Because a person can be ignored, a movement cannot. From this point forward, they will do one of three things. Try to co-opt your influence. Try to contain your influence. Try to redirect your influence. Why? Because once your presence starts altering environments, you're no longer a lone figure in the background. You're a catalyst. A spark, a center of gravity, and catalysts, chosen one, change everything they touch. Number 11. The proof they can no longer deny. They didn't believe your growth until you stopped explaining it and started enforcing it. They've been studying the evidence, the quiet, ruthless pruning you've been doing while everyone else stayed tangled in the same cycles. You've been cutting off dead weight without ceremony, dropping old versions of yourself like outdated armor. Walking away from people who drain you, patterns that weaken you, and situations that insult the intelligence you've earned. And every time you walked away from something that once held you hostage, their alarms got louder. Because this wasn't emotional, this wasn't dramatic, this wasn't you going through a phase. This was strategy. This was calculation. This was transformation happening in real time. Imagine someone looking through security footage and realizing the person they wrote off months ago is suddenly making decisions with surgical precision. That's what watching you feels like. They can see the shift in your posture, your choices, your tolerance level. You're not just thinking differently, you're living differently. You turned your awareness into boundaries, and your boundaries into a new environment. You're rebuilding your entire life to match your evolution, and every strategic cut you make confirms the truth they were trying not to admit. You're not talking evolution, you are evolution. And they know what comes next, because once someone like you reaches this stage, the system doesn't stay silent. They never watch forever. Eventually, contact arrives. It always does, not as a threat, but as a gift, a flattering opportunity, a shiny door swinging open at the perfect time, the kind of offer that feels aligned, convenient, fated even. And maybe you're wondering, why would they offer me anything? What could they possibly want from me? Simple: control, influence, direction. They want to know if they can shape the upgraded version of you the same way they controlled the old one. They want to know if your capacity can be guided, if your awareness can be framed, if your destiny can be folded neatly inside their structure. Every offer, no matter how sweet, carries the same hidden question. Will you play inside our system, even though we now know you can see beyond it? That's the real test. That's the real examination. That's the moment they find out what kind of force you're becoming. Because once someone like you combines full awareness with full capacity, you stop being a background character. You stop being a variable. You become an outcome, visible, powerful, inevitable. And that's why they still can't look away. Let's bring this home, chosen one. After everything you've just uncovered, one thing is clear. You're not the same soul they overlooked. You're the force they underestimated, the shift they didn't predict, the evolution they can't reverse. And now that you see the game, you'll never move blindly again. If this message hit something real inside you, repay the energy. Like the video, subscribe, drop 77 in the comments, and share this with someone who needs the wake-up call. Your rise isn't accidental. It's inevitable.